Daily architecture for a rare life. Depth is not something you have. It's something you house. Build an architecture that keeps your gifts usable in the real world. Morning. 10 minutes of stillness, breath, prayer, or quiet. Write a one-sentence intention and 3 non-negotiables of meaning. Choose one high-signal task that serves your calling. Midday. Check for energy leaks. Close loops you never agreed to open. Move your body, walk, stretch, or sweat. The mind rides the body's chemistry. Evening. Review what felt alive. What felt heavy? What did you learn about your patterns? One sentence of gratitude to yourself for honoring your design. Over time, this isn't just routine, it's ritual. Rituals are how we convince the nervous system that the life we want is safe to inhabit. If you recognize yourself here, you are not too much. You're accurate. Your questions are not a threat, they're an invitation. Your solitude isn't withdrawal, it's refueling. Your empathy isn't a leash, it's a language. Yes, there will be rooms where your depth is inconvenient. Yes, some people preferred the edited version of you. But the world you're meant to serve requires you unedited. So here's your commission. Name your gifts without apology. Aim them with boundaries. Train them with practice. Offer them where consent and reciprocity live. One day, someone will say, "When I met you, I remembered what I'd been hoping was still possible." That is the quiet work of rare minds, to keep the signal clear in a noisy age. If you're ready to stop shrinking and start building, carry this sentence into the week. I choose a life that can hold the size of my soul. And if this resonated, share it with the one person who's always felt a little out of place, for the best possible reason. The 8 signs of a rare mind, and the path to owning it. There's a reason you've always felt out of place. Not because you're broken, but because you're built for a deeper layer of reality than most people are trained to notice. Across a lifetime of inner work, some people develop an uncommon form of psychological clarity, an ability to feel more, see further, and refuse the smallness that passes for normal. If even a few of these signs resonate, you might be one of them. Today, we'll explore 8 signs of a rare mind, then map the stages of growth that such minds travel, the shadow traps that can derail them, and how to build relationships that honor your depth rather than punish it. By the end, you'll have a language for what you've sensed all along, and a practice for living it. Sign 1. Emotional depth that doesn't switch off. You don't merely have emotions, you conduct them. Where others feel a single note, you hear a symphony, tones, harmonies, texture. A conversation lingers in your body hours after it ends. A stranger's micro-wince registers. A room's tension hums at a frequency you can't ignore. People have called you too sensitive. But your sensitivity isn't fragility, it's resolution. It lets you detect what's unsaid, trace conflict to its roots, and transform pain into meaning. The work isn't to mute your sensitivity. It's to aim it, discern when to dive in and when to let the current pass by. Practice, before difficult interactions, name 3 sensations you feel, 3 thoughts you hold, and 1 intention you choose. This turns emotional intensity into a calibrated instrument. Sign 2. Sacred curiosity. You don't stop at what, you interrogate why. Why do we accept relationships that shrink us? Why are we loyal to systems that don't serve human flourishing? Why are busy and important treated like synonyms? Your questions unsettle people because they dissolve pretense. You don't ask to be provocative, you ask because reality deserves a fair hearing. The truth is, the status quo runs on inertia. Your mind refuses to be carried by it. Practice, keep a living why document. Each week, choose one assumption you operate on about success, love, or identity, and ask 3 deeper whys. Revise one habit in response. Curiosity becomes transformation when it changes behavior. Sign 3. Self-authored independence. You learned, often the hard way, that outsourcing your worth is psychological quicksand. So you built a center of gravity that doesn't swing with approval or absence. This isn't rebellion for its own sake. It's the sober recognition that peace costs less than people-pleasing. Solitude for you isn't a punishment, it's maintenance. Time alone is where you recalibrate, remember your name, and return to the world on purpose. Practice, schedule non-negotiable solitude blocks the way others schedule meetings. During them, you don't consume, you compose ideas, plans, or silence. That discipline keeps you independent without becoming isolated. Sign 4, intuitive pattern sight. You notice the edges first. The thing someone didn't say. The opportunity hiding inside a constraint. The path 2 steps ahead of the obvious next step. You read atmospheres the way others read headlines. This is not magical thinking, it's expertise in unspoken information. The risk is burnout from constantly tracking it for everyone else. Practice, ask yourself, is this mine to carry? If your pattern sight tempts you to fix what isn't yours, step back. Offer clarity when invited, and permission to opt out when not. Sign 5, meaning over performance. You can achieve for applause, but the sound rings hollow. You've tried the costume of external validation and found it tight in the shoulders. Your psyche rebels when you live against your nature, numbness, agitation, a sudden intolerance for shallow wins. When you align your days with what matters, even if it's less glamorous, you feel a quiet click inside. That click is your inner treaty, you agree to stop betraying yourself just to belong. Practice, define your non-negotiables of meaning, 3 daily behaviors that make you like who you are. For example, tell the truth even when it's awkward, make something, move your body. Track them, not likes or metrics. Sign 6, repeated molting. You outgrow versions of yourself, and the room's built for them. People who loved your smaller self may not recognize the one who replaces her. Not because you became difficult, but because you stopped performing familiar pain. Growth feels like grief because it is, you bury costumes that once kept you safe. But evolution is unidirectional. Once you see the gears of conditioning, you can't pretend not to. Practice, write a letter from your future self 1 year ahead. What did they let die? What small practice did they protect? Pin that letter somewhere private. When old rooms invite you back, read it. Sign 7, transformational presence. You don't just communicate, you regulate spaces. People tell you they feel seen around you. You hear the truth beneath their words, and your non-judgment makes it safe to surface. This presence heals, but only when you include yourself in the circle of care. Without boundaries, you become a 24/7 emotional first responder. With boundaries, your presence turns from a leak into a well. Practice, set a simple rule, I can offer depth, or I can offer duration, not both. Choose deep, time-bound presence or lighter, longer availability. Protect your energy like a craftsperson protects their hands. Sign 8, a calling you can't quite name. You sense a direction that arrives as pressure before it becomes language. A restless knowing that you're meant to build, teach, compose, serve, something. The temptation is to wait for perfect clarity before moving. But purpose rarely arrives finished, it reveals itself to people who begin. Practice, use the 30-day micropilots method. For 1 month, ship 1 tiny act aligned with your pull, 1 page, 1 lesson, 1 outreach. Track resonance. Let the pattern of aliveness choose the project. The 3 stages of a rare mind's growth. Recognizing the signs is the beginning. Owning them is a journey. Most rare minds cycle through 3 stages, sometimes more than once. Stage 1, the unconscious outsider. You feel different and label it as a defect. You try conformity as a cure. You perform a polished role that earns approval but drains the soul. The mask fits, but it itches. Work of this stage, notice the cost of pretending. Start keeping promises to yourself that no one can see. Each small, private integrity weakens the mask. Stage 2, the awakening individual. You reframe your traits as gifts with training wheels. You begin shadow work, owning traits you exile to be acceptable, anger that guards boundaries, joy you downplay to seem serious, tenderness you armored to survive. Work of this stage: build containers for your depth, routines, relationships, and creative practices that can actually hold your intensity. You edit your environment to match your values. Stage 3: the integrated original. You no longer argue with your wiring. Your sensitivity has aim, your solitude has rhythm, your service has edges. You stop chasing every invitation and start crafting your contribution. Work of this stage: to apprentice yourself to your calling. Trade novelty for mastery. Become a person whose attention is a sanctuary and whose work is a lighthouse for others still at sea. The shadow traps, and how to disarm them. Even rare minds have blind spots. 3 patterns show up often. 1. The superiority reflex. When you confuse difference with better, your depth curdles into contempt. You stand apart, but not above. Superiority is the ego's counterfeit of dignity. Antidote: practice humble specificity. This path fits me instead of this path is best. Curiosity over comparison. 2. The savior spiral. You sense pain and rush to fix it until resentment builds and burnout arrives. You mistake rescue for love. Antidote: serve with consent, not compulsion. Ask: do you want comfort, clarity, or a plan? If they don't choose, you don't carry. 3. The martyr narrative. You equate depth with deprivation. If it's meaningful, it must hurt. You begin to distrust ease. Antidote: design joyful discipline, structures that feel kind while still rigorous. Let beauty be a valid metric of a good life. Relationships for rare minds. Your light will draw 2 common archetypes. The light seeker, enthralled by your presence but uninterested in their own inner labor. They want your insight, not your limits. The light dimmer, threatened by your growth, they try to negotiate you back into a smaller version they can predict. Relational practices. Criteria, not charisma. Choose by a person's capacity to hold nuance, apologize cleanly, and do their own work, not by how magnetized you feel. Contracts of care. Make the implicit explicit: how you communicate, how you repair, how you rest. Depth thrives in clarity. Reciprocity audits. Quarterly, ask: is the giving mutual? Not symmetrical, but mutual. Adjust access accordingly. And for the relationships that matter, teach people how to love you. Not with lectures, but with receipts, consistent boundaries, consistent warmth, consistent truth.